Here, Clark off the screen rockets and drops a triple, but among these Mercury gold medalists, Caitlin Clark returned to WNBA action with dramatic grandeur. She engaged in more than just gameplay. She updated the chronicles of history. Clark put up an amazing 29 points, 10 assists, and 5 rebounds against the Phoenix Mercury and the great Diana Taurasi. Here's the worst, though. She not only prevailed in the game, she fundamentally altered the course of the Rookie of the Year contest as well as maybe the whole playoff scene. She's attempting to show she's not here to play games. This performance was historic rather than merely excellent, but believe me, this game had more turns than you could possibly fathom. Great expectation was already aroused by the WNBA's comeback following the Olympic break. But the buzz reached stratospheric levels when we learned Caitlin Clark would be facing Diana Taurasi. One side had the rookie sensation, the prodigy transforming college basketball and currently the WNBA. Conversely, the live legendary icon of women's basketball. Still, it was more than just a personal duel. While Taurasi's Phoenix Mercury is battling to keep their spot, the Indiana Fever are in a frantic race towards the playoffs. Every game counts in this last stretch of the season, hence this game might turn things around for any club. Of course, we also cannot overlook the additional factor, that of intense rivalry between Clark and Angel Reese for Rookie of the Year. Every performance is under close inspection these days, every statistic measured. A great performance against a Taurasi-led team may make all the difference in this race, Clark realized. The theater was ready. Expectations were very high. Nobody could have guessed what was about to happen. All knew, though, we were going to see something unique. The game got underway, and my pals, the Indiana Fever, arrived to make a statement. The beginning was overpowering, the kind that causes the opposing supporters to squirm in their seats. The Fever just ran over the Mercury in the first quarter to create a 33-16 lead. You did really hear that right. 17 points separated us. Caitlin Clark was blazingly active. She closed up the first period with an outstanding 16 points, 5 assists, and 4 rebounds. Not a solo performance, though. Perfect accompaniment was Kelsey Mitchell. Clark and Mitchell had an unbelievable chemistry. They found each other on the court as though they had been playing together for years. The second quarter saw the same predominance. The Fever startled the Mercury totally by opening a 28-point advantage. It appeared as though we were observing a Fever shooting drill. The defense was strong, the offense was flowing. Diana Taurasi and the Mercury, meantime, appeared to have no answers. Clearly annoyed with the circumstances was the great player. For the Fever, the halftime score is a strong 54-37. Coach Christy Sides seems to have discovered the ideal recipe. With Clark directing the attack and the defense choking the Mercury's major weaponry, the game plan was operating flawlessly. It seemed as though the Fever were headed towards a simple, forceful triumph at that point. But basketball is a game of runs. Hence, what was going to happen in the second half would surprise many people. The Mercury did not get where they are by having a team that gives up readily. The third quarter began, and suddenly we felt as though we were seeing an entirely different game. The Mercury began to shockingly nibble away at the lead of the Fever. The easy 17-point edge started to dissolve in the Arizona heat like ice. Suddenly, Christy Sides was confronted with a tactical dilemma. What had worked well just now appeared to be disintegrating. The defense that was unbreakable in the first half now included more holes. The flowing offense evolved into a sequence of lost belongings and forced shots. The Mercury sliced the difference to just 8 points by winning the third quarter 28-19. The strain was building, and the Fever players' expressions showed clearly their irritation. This was the instant we observed Kelsey Mitchell engaged in a passionate conversation, indicating that the conflict was approaching critical proportions. Timeouts, rotation changes, defensive modifications, Sides did everything, but it felt as though nothing was working. The Fever started to be haunted by the specter of a humiliating defeat after such a great beginning as the momentum had totally changed. This would be the test of Sides' experience serving as a coach. How would she arrange her staff? How would she manage the progress of the Mercury under Taurasi? More crucially, though, how would Clark and Mitchell, her key weapons, be used to guarantee the victory? It was evident that this game would be determined in the last minutes, as the fourth quarter was about to start. Sides understood that her choices in the coming seconds may influence not just the result of the game, but also maybe the destiny of the Fever season. Caitlin Clark and Kelsey Mitchell chose to demonstrate why they are regarded as one of the most dangerous duos in the WNBA when all seemed gone and the momentum was completely in favor of the Mercury. Clark and Mitchell grabbed absolute command of the game in the fourth quarter. Showing maturity well above her years, Clark started to control the tempo of the game. She alternated between delivering accurate assistance and smashing shots that sent the audience insane. Still, Kelsey Mitchell was the actual highlight of the last quarter. She just started to catch fire. Mitchell sank two absolutely vital three-pointers. Clark and Mitchell seemed to know exactly where the other would be on the court at all times. Mitchell came loose for the shot when the Mercury concentrated on stopping Clark. When they doubled on Mitchell, Clark found places to create. This was the instant it became evident why the Fever are so lethal. Not only is the Caitlin Clark show noteworthy, this team is very difficult to defend because of the dangerous mix of Clark and Mitchell. The 98-89 Fever score ultimately does not fully reflect the situation. It doesn't depict how the game was on a knife's edge, how the Mercury neared a spectacular comeback with great peril, but it demonstrates how ready Clark and Mitchell are to react when the pressure is most. This Fever triumph over the Mercury went beyond simply another regular season game. No, my buddies, this was one of those events that might determine the course of a squad. Consequently, the Fever moved a great distance towards the playoffs, something few thought feasible at the beginning of the season. Allow me to put it in context. Currently ranking 7th in the whole standings, the Fever have a 12-15 record. Every win counts as the regular season has just a few games left. Especially more valuable is beating a direct rival like the Mercury. The triumph also gave the crew a great dose of confidence, especially after almost blowing a 28-point lead. Beating a Diana Taurasi-led team reveals the Fever's resiliency required for playoff survival. For Caitlin Clark, this triumph confirms her reputation as among the league's most powerful players. She is essentially dragging her club to the playoffs in her rookie season, not only gathering outstanding numbers. From a novice, we hardly find that from anywhere. The road still is long and challenging. The Fever will have to keep this degree of performance if they are to guarantee their playoff place. But the Fever are demonstrating they have all the tools to be among the surprises of this postseason, with Clark and Mitchell leading the way and victories like this on their CV. One thing is definite. No club will want to deal with this playoff frenzy. The heavens are the limit for this team with the mix of young skill and will they displayed in this game. And with this outstanding performance, Caitlin Clark has silenced all detractors if there remained any uncertainty about who should be the WNBA Rookie of the Year. To be honest, all season Clark and Angel Reese have been running close. But what Clark achieved in this game might have skewed the odds quite in her advantage. Let us examine the facts. With 29 points, 10 assists, and 5 rebounds, Clark came out of the game. Not only is that an excellent game, for every player, let alone a rookie, this is a historic game. She became the first rookie in WNBA history to have several games with at least 25 points and 10 assists. Now juxtaposition that with Angel Reese's most recent effort against the same Phoenix Mercury team. Reese battled to leave her mark on the game after the Chicago Sky were shockingly beaten. Reese lacked the same impact, whereas Clark shone against Taurasi and company. It's more than just numbers, although Clark's figures are outstanding. It speaks to influence on the game. Clark is not only gathering numbers, she is basically dragging her squad to the championship game. She is doing this under intense pressure against some of the world's top athletes. Furthermore, Clark is simply unparalleled in adaptability. She not only scores a lot. With her shooting, she is a top point guard who can create for her teammates while maintaining opposing defenses on continual alert. Naturally, the season is still under progress, thus Reese will most definitely have additional chances to shine. At this point, though, it's difficult to challenge Clark as Rookie of the Year's obvious choice. She is performing not only brilliantly, she is redefining the expectations placed on a WNBA rookie. It will be almost impossible to deny Clark the Rookie of the Year title if she keeps this degree of performance for the rest of the season and drives the team towards the playoffs. And honestly, given what we have thus far seen, who would question she can do precisely that? This game revealed some flaws in the Fever that need to be addressed, even with Caitlin Clark's outstanding performance and exciting triumph, if the team expects continuous success and a major playoff run. Let us first address the elephant in the room, the second-half fall-off. It is alarming since the Fever let a 28-point advantage to virtually slide away. It calls into doubt the team's capacity to keep intensity for a full 40 minutes and manage pressure under close quarters. Coach Christy Sides has to figure out how to keep her team active and motivated, even if their scoreboard shows advancement. In the playoffs, when every possession counts, complacency may prove fatal. The overdependence on Clark and Mitchell raises still another issue. Having two such gifted players is amazing, but a playoff team needs consistent output from every member. The Fever must create tertiary and secondary scoring choices to relieve strain on their star pair. Furthermore important will be the growth of young players outside of Clark. Aaliyah Boston, for instance, has showed glimpses of genius. Lastly, Sides' game-time choices and rotation control must be more acute. This game included times when she looked to be responding to circumstances rather than controlling them. Every coach's choice in close playoff games can make all the difference between success and failure. Notwithstanding these obstacles, the Fever is in a great position. Clark is the center, a youthful core with promise, and a playoff berth looks to be here. Should they be able to address these problems, the potential of this team is unbounded. What were your impressions of this crazy game? Simply said, Caitlin Clark is redefining what it means to be a WNBA rookie, is she not? Still, I would welcome your perspective. Do you believe Clark already has the Rookie of the Year accolades? Alternatively, does Angel Reese still have possibilities? And concerning the Indiana Fever as well, are they fit to create noise in the playoffs? Alternatively, would the issues we observed throughout the second half turn out to be their undoing? Leave your remarks here. Reading your analyses and reacting whenever I can makes me happy. Your observations often provide fresh angles from which I might not have thought about things. Remember also to subscribe to the channel and put on alerts if you like this analysis and wish to keep current on all WNBA events. You won't miss any footage on the top players in women's basketball this way either. I appreciate you seeing. Next video will see you.